Hey guys, it's Bianca Sophia. So before I start this video, I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to James Rink. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. And you guys will understand why here in a few minutes. Hey guys, it's Bianca Sophia. So I went out today. I went to Dunkin'. So I'm on the way there and I notice Michael L's there, right? And it's so funny. He's being so funny. He's like, because you know he's very big, right? So he is trying to make me laugh by he was like, he's sitting in the passenger seat, right? But he goes into his full size. so the top part of his body is sticking out of the top of my car, right? And his hair is like blowing, and like, and I could see through the roof of my car, right? How funny is that, you guys? And his hair is blowing in the wind, right? And his wings are literally sticking out of the car, like, because he's so big, right? I just find this so hilarious and so, like, unbelievable. Like, what this is getting better and better, right? So I was like, what are you doing here, right? Because usually it's usually Archangel Michael, not, Seraphim Michael that's with me. He's like, you need to be protected more than ever right now. I'm like, okay, wow. So, and he proceeded to let me know that Archangel Michael and Archangel Lucy are having a rough go of it right now. They're going through a lot, right? And they're having to be with their human prototypes right now, right? Because their human prototypes are going through a lot, right? And then those human prototypes, their 12 aspects are going through a lot too. So they're how they are merging with those human aspects, right? They're having to integrate, all of these other aspects of themselves, clones included, and all this, the alters, and all these fractals and fragments, right? And you'll hear another video in regards to this about Mercury retrograde and how it's having the biggest effect on Seraphim Michael L's portion of this family, which you'll hear soon. Hear that thunder? It's of course it's starting to thunder now. So and this video is going to be it's going to be really good, you guys. It's going to be really good. So I'm at Dunkin', right? I was there with Michael L, and we had a nice time. So we're leaving, and I get messages from James, right? And he sent me a transcript of a regression he did, and I'm going to read it to you guys. And I read it and I started to cry because I was like, I fucking knew I'm like, I knew I wasn't crazy. I fucking knew it. I started crying and everything. And Michael was like, really? He's like, why do you have to get confirmation from humans or, human prototypes? I've been trying to tell you this for months, right? This is all real. It's very real. So stop doubting it. He's been saying, don't doubt this. Don't doubt our love. Don't doubt this whole thing. Stop doubting. But it's like, it's like with all this AI, interference, it's like, it's hard, especially when your counterpart, human prototype sides, like the other aspects are not they're having a tough time apparently, right? So that I'm feeling, right? And I talk about that in the other video that I'm going to be posting. I have like 7 videos that are coming out, you guys. There's tons. And Michael L is not happy with this AI stuff. He is not happy, you guys. He's over it, and he's like letting the Nah know that he's coming for them, right? We're all coming for them, right? Like, the spiritual war is really it's getting very intense, right? Okay, so I'm going to read the transcript that James sent me. Okay, he was working with a Keith and an Asha. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's either Asha or Asha, I guess, and James. So if I mispronounce those names, I apologize in advance. You guys are just gonna. It's getting really good. Okay. And I love this too because I know James, he was hesitating about this too, about the archangels being involved in all this super soldier, the SSP and all this. So, I know he doesn't think I'm crazy anymore either, right? So I'm loving this. And I don't think I'm crazy anymore either. Like, this is just the confirmation. I was crying, you guys. I was crying when I read this. Okay, let me pull up the transcript. So this was a, a regression that was done, and it was done a week ago. So I want you to remember that this is the exact same time that I was disconnecting those clones, right? The clones of James, right? Okay. So I'm going to say the person's name, and then that's the person who's speaking, okay? James. Well, let's move on, and we can work with Asha at a later point on that. So let's go to the next questions. Look for another door connected to information associated with the AI red boxes. It is my belief that we are being trapped by some kind of artificial intelligence that is preventing us from accessing our full potential. Question to Keith's higher self. Is this assertion correct? Keith. Yes. James. All right. So let's go. Manifest in your astral form a belt that makes you invisible to AI. So in full invisibility mode, I want you to open a door. It could either be for Keith or James, or maybe a point with both together where there's AI boxes involved. And also, open up your third eye to actually see the boxes and tell me where they are located. Actually, describe what you see. What do they look like? Keith. They're invisible. You can't see them. They've been here since the 60s. James. Who created them? Why are they here? Keith. They're here from the aliens, the Greys. James. What is their purpose? Keith. To monitor people. James. Okay, does James Rink have them around him? Keith. They're around everybody. James. Okay. How do they stop us angelics from accessing our full abilities? Keith. Because they are 10 steps ahead of you. They can watch you and see what you're going to do and manipulate things so you can't do what you want to do. James. Are these AI boxes destroying Keith's ability for his financial abundance? Keith. Yes. They keep you down so that you can't feel successful. If you don't feel successful, you're never successful. James. How has it affected James Rink? Keith. The same way. They keep making things not happen that he expects, and it just makes him go down. James. How come some people are able to be successful while some of us are not? Keith. Some are not being tracked because they're not important. You people are because you're special. Your entity is related to Jesus and God. James. Okay, so even if we are using the law of attraction, manifestation, positive intention, it doesn't even matter. We have boxes overriding us. Keith. Yes. James. Describe what these AI boxes look like. Like, how big are they? Keith. They're invisible. You can't see them. They are the size of a bread box. They're not big, but they are powerful. They track everything you do, and they can track what you think. James. How many are around us? Is it just one unit or multiple units? Keith. Multiple. James. How many are around Keith at this current moment in time? Keith. 8. James. How many are around James Rink at the current moment in time? 12. James. How many are around Asha right now? Keith. 10. James. How many are around people that are low priority, usually? Keith. None. James. Why are we high priority? Keith. Because you were born to do something special. You're not human. James. Who isn't human? Keith. All of you. The 3 of you. James. Okay, starting with Keith, I guess you've already said he has some reptilian genetics. Is there any other genetics in there that makes you not human? Keith. God made him from Archangel Michael. He's a part angel. James. Asha. What's special about her genetics and makes her not human? Keith. She's one of God's angels, a super angel. She's not human. James. Are these super angels or archangels? Keith. Different. James. Super angel? Keith. A super angel is much more powerful than an archangel. James. And James? Keith. James is an archangel. James. Is the archangel Ta thing? Keith. Yes, it's one of his names. James. Okay, understood. Asha would like to ask a question. Asha. In what manner are Asha, James, and Keith related in the angelic realm? Keith. Keith and James are brothers. They are sons of Archangel Michael. Asha is a relative of... She was once Jesus' Mary. James. She's a relative of Mary? Keith. Yes. James. Are we talking the Mother Mary or the wife? Keith. The Mother Mary. James. Okay. What was her name in that period of time? Keith. Rebecca. Asha. In the angelic realm, how was she related to Keith and James? Keith. Through many lifetimes, she was married to Keith and a sister to James. Asha. What about in the heavenly realms? Keith. They are friends, close friends. Asha. What was Asha's specialty in the heavenly realms? Keith. She was a warrior. James. A super warrior. Thank you, Keith, on this. Okay, question related to the AI boxes. What can we do to have them removed, or is that even possible? Keith. Jesus can do anything. Ask and it is done. James. If we remove these AI boxes, will it allow us to get access to our abilities and memories? Keith. Yes. James. Okay, well, I asked Jesus to remove the AI boxes, and I certainly don't want them coming back after the session. The 12 of them. I give consent to have them gone. Keith. Jesus' angels are getting them now. James. Asha. Do you consent to having your 10? Go ahead and say it out loud. Asha. I, Asha, ask for my 10 AI boxes to be removed at this time by Jesus Christ as well. Keith. They're removed. James. And question for Keith's higher self. Do you want your 8 AI boxes removed? Keith. Yes. James. All right, so. Keith. The angels are removing them now. James. Wow. I feel like a light energy. All right. Keith. Jesus says they're cleared. James. The question is next. The Greys that created these boxes. Are they aware of what just happened? Keith. Yes. James. Are they monitoring the session at this time? Keith. They're watching us continuously. James. Are they here in this room now? Keith. Yes. James. Cloaked? Keith. Yes. James. Are they of the light or negative ones? Keith. Negative. James. Question to Keith's higher self. Do you advise that we have these entities removed as well? Keith. It doesn't matter. Jesus is here with Keith. James. Asha. Do you want the negative Greys gone? Asha. Yes. James. Okay, I want the negative Greys gone. Asha. And the long-necked ones? James. The long-necked ones as well, so they have no permission. If they tricked us, whatever contracts they have, if they tricked Keith or Asha, we want them all. We are reneging on the contracts. Keith. Jesus, please remove these entities that are here, that you have not sent. They are gray and they're long-necked. May they be gone forever from us. In your name I claim this. Thank you, Jesus. James. So they've also claimed our soul in other cloned bodies, and they're using that to hold contracts on us. Question for Keith's higher self. How do we reclaim our soul if it's been stuck in other cloned bodies? Keith. Ask Jesus. James. Okay, question to Jesus. Keith. Ask him to release you from any bonds you have with anybody. James. Okay. Jesus Christ, we request that our souls be returned back to us from any contracts where our souls were put into cloned bodies and other alternate realities, or this reality, or whatever. They don't have consent. Does Keith also agree to this? Keith. Yes. Jesus, please remove any bounds, any promises, any curses between us and any entity in this realm. Any time, any space, any demonic, any entities whatsoever. Other than you, we discard them, and we wish you to take us as your children in love. Thank you, Jesus. James. Asha, you want to ask a question? Asha. Yeah. Can you ask Jesus Christ to remove any curses put on James or Keith or Asha concerning manifestations and careers and money to be removed? Keith. Jesus, please remove any curses on Asha, James, and Keith, whether they affect us in any way, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you for sending your angels. Jesus says it is done. So when James sent this to me and I read it, I was like, I'm not crazy, right? I was like, okay, this is just, I was like crying. And it's so funny. Like I said, Michael L was sitting next to me. He was like kind of, disappointed, like that I was like, he's like, really? All this stuff I've shown to you, all this stuff, I've literally like physically manifested you in front of you. Like all the stuff that you've, been witness to, that you've literally been through, and you still doubt this. He gets frustrated. But it's like, but I'm like, okay, well then, go to your human level and see why we doubt. It's because of all this fucking AI interference, right? But yeah, I should have known when I first saw that AI box that this was real. This was not a fucking game. That everybody in their whole entire world has these fucking AI boxes, right? And that they're just, it's like the overlay thing, how it's an overlay over the real world, right? And how we manifest these fucking boxes ourselves. They have programmed us to do this. I mean, I am just like, I am so happy. I'm so happy that I'm not crazy. Because I reached out to James a while back about all this, saying that, you're an archangel, I'm an archangel, and actually Michael reached out to him literally, and typed to him, right? And James later said, I don't know about all this archangel stuff. I don't know if I believe in that. I don't know if I'm believing in that quite yet, and that now he got the confirmation. I mean, what I'm saying is he believed in archangels. He just didn't know if he really was one. He wasn't believing in that, what I was saying, that, you're an archangel. He was kind of like, what? I don't know about all that. And when I told him he was the same thing. And remember, you guys, this session is from about a week ago. And this is around the same time that I disconnected those clones of him. So it's like I was doing that work, when he was doing that session about, asking for the angels to remove the clones. Here I am removing the clones. How fucking cool is that? Well, that's all I've got for you, you guys. Oh my God, this shit is getting better and better and more intense, just like I said. I love you guys. Shields up, swords up. Let's get it.